Some of the biggest names in women's basketball will be in Brooklyn tonight as we welcome you back here to CBS News New York. It's the 8 o'clock hour, and it's time to talk about the WNBA Draft. They're going to be forever linked to this draft. Tonight it takes place. We can't wait. Dr. Molly Yanity, director of Quinnipiac's Masters of Sports Journalism program, joins me now to talk about tonight's big night. Doc, good to see you. How are you?
It's great to see you, Chris. How are you doing?
All right. If you're the Indiana Fever, are you considering anyone else but Caitlin Clark with the top pick in tonight's draft?
Absolutely not. Really, interestingly, Lynn Dunn is the general manager of the Indiana Fever. And in 2001 and 2002, she was the general manager of the Seattle Storm. They had back-to-back #1 picks, just as Lynn has now. She picked Lauren Jackson out of Australia, Sue Bird out of UConn, both no-brainers. They went on to win a championship 2 years later.
That was Jackson and Bird. That was a great 1-2 punch right there. So let me ask you this. We all know the allure of Caitlin Clark and all that comes, all the trappings that come with her as far as the ratings and just the following that she had. Do you, as you sit there now, think that she is the best overall player to take at #1? Or is it, you know, the player is great. There's other players that could potentially go 1, but they don't have everything that Caitlin has?
No, I think Caitlin is the most complete player in this draft. She can defend. She can shoot from all over. She's your pick.
Geez, so let's talk about some of the other players then that are probably, let's keep it to the top 5. What other players do you see making that mark in the top 5 picks tonight?
You know, I think that the consensus #2 pick is Cameron Brink out of Stanford. I would not be surprised, though, if the Los Angeles Sparks go with Camila Cardoso, who was the NCAA Final Four MVP. She really came on strong at the end of this this spring. She is 6'8". She can move well. The Sparks have the 2nd and 4th pick, though, so they might end up with both of those front court players.
Cardoso was great. Was great in the Final Four. You know, you've got the Indiana Fever, who now go from basically obscurity, not being a great team. They're now going to have Caitlin Clark on their team, and they already know that 36 of their 40 games next year are going to be televised. So the tide better raise all ships with this team. Do you think, can one player, a player like, obviously, like Caitlin, can she turn things around overnight?
You know, it's not just her that would be turning it around. They had the #1 pick last year, South Carolina's Aaliyah Boston, and they've got a good group of players around those two, but not quite yet. I would give them another year to gel, and then they'll be competing. So
then let's talk about what teams you still see as the front runners, no matter who is picked in the draft tomorrow night. What teams do you really like as kind of like the stand apart teams in the WNBA going into the season?
The defending champion Las Vegas Aces are fantastic. Interestingly, they do not have a first-round pick. They will compete with the other super team, New York Liberty, right here at home. The Liberty have the 11th pick in the draft, but I honestly, this is not a deep draft. Despite there being 32 picks, 3 rounds, it is not a deep draft, and probably only those first 5 to 7 players are even locks on rosters.
Real impact players. So let me ask you one final question before I let you go. Some great players, Hall of Famers in their own right, Dana Taurasi and whatnot. We're talking about, hey, you know what? You come into the WNBA, you may have dominated in college last month, but when you come here, it's a different ballgame. You're playing against, you know, other athletes who have played professionally for a long time. How do you see that transition being for Caitlin Clark in particular?
It will be real. I mean, very honestly, her first game is against the Connecticut Sun with one of the best defenders in the league, Alyssa Thomas. And I don't know that it'll be a rude awakening, but it will be an awakening.
She's not going to have a whole lot of time to transition. She's going to like get out there and let's see what she can do right away. And she's going to be tested by everyone. But you know what? She is a great player, and I'm sure she's going to be able to handle herself accordingly. Doctor, great to see you once again. We thank you for taking a couple of moments for us.
Thank you.
All right.